الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا وقائدنا ومعلمنا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. أما بعد يا معشر الأحباب. All praise is due to Allah. We seek His guidance, His forgiveness, His assistance, His mercy. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil within ourselves and from the evil of our actions. Whomsoever Allah guides, there is no one to lead astray, and whomsoever Allah sends astray, there is no one to guide him. I bear witness there is no one worthy of worship except Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is His servant and His messenger. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, upon his family, his companions, and all those who follow them until the last day. O you who believe, revere Allah as He should be revered, and do not die except in a state of surrender. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, today I want to take the opportunity to be able to give some perspective from one of the greatest scholars of Islam. And seeing as how we are during the winter break, and we have many of our young with us today, this is a perspective, inshallah, that will benefit every single one of us, including myself. The idea is in terms of, we've heard many ahadith and we've read many verses of the Quran that relate to how it is that we need to use our time in the best of manners. We know the verse in the Quran or the surah in the Quran, Surah Al-Asr, when Allah says, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. That by the passage of time, as time passes, Allah is swearing by time, and the passage of time, the human being is in a state of loss, except those who believe and do righteous deeds and counsel one another in truth and counsel one another in patience. And we know the hadith, many hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, one of which, in which he said, نِعْمَتَانِ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ الصِّحَّةُ وَالْفَرَغُ. That there are two blessings that many people are cheated out of: their health and their free time. And so we want to look at the perspective that Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, said in relation to how it is that we need to use our time. Imam al-Ghazali was one of the greatest scholars of Islam. And after he wrote his major work, the Ihya Ulum-ad-Din, he summarized it in a small book that is called Bidayat al-Hidayah, the beginning of guidance. And this small book, it teaches us how to attain taqwa, inwardly as well as outwardly, in all of our actions and in what it is that we strive to do. And so he tells us in this book how it is that once we've fulfilled all of our duties in terms of our fard prayers or in terms of our daily portions of reading Quran or dhikr, that which we have to do, he says to us that there are 4 things that we need to fill our times in. There are 4 things that we need to do to fulfill our time. Now, one of the things that's interesting about what Imam al-Ghazali is saying is that he doesn't call these things actions. He doesn't refer to them as a'mal, but rather he refers to them as ahwal, halat. That this is a state. It's a state of being. And so it means that every single one of us, we need to strive in order to be in one of these 4 states during our free time. That's what the essence of this is, because there's nothing really more precious in terms of what we have and what we possess as capital other than our time. Because once we lose it, it's gone forever. And yet, it's based on these precious moments that we're living here and now that will determine our end in the hereafter. It will determine what our state will be like for the rest of eternity. These few moments that are fleeting and that they are so easy for us to lose. And so this is simply a reminder for every single one of us, myself included, of what we can do to benefit from our free time. So he refers to the first hal, and he refers to these different states in priority of order. تقدموا يا أخواني يرحمكم الله افسحوا يفسح الله لكم. Please move forward, try to make space for those who are coming in. Any space that you see that is free or open, fill it and move up a little bit. Barakallahu fikum. So he says the first state, الأولى وهي الأفضل أن تصرفه إلى طلب العلم النافع في الدين دون الفضول الذي أكب الناس عليه وسموه علما. So he says the first thing that we should do, the first state that we should be in terms of using our time, is seeking علم نافع, beneficial or useful knowledge. Now it's important to understand what useful knowledge is, because there's such thing as knowledge that is of benefit, and there's such thing as knowledge that is of no benefit. And the Prophet ﷺ used to seek refuge in Allah from knowledge that is of no use or benefit. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa, or min ilmin la yanfa. That the Prophet ﷺ would make dua, oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from a knowledge that is of no benefit. And so Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah said the first way and the best, because now he's giving these in the order of preference, of priority. These are not in random. These are in priority of preference, from the best and the most virtuous. So he said the first way and the best is to spend your time seeking beneficial knowledge in your deen. Not matters of secondary importance to which many people devote themselves and call knowledge. So what is useful knowledge? والعلم النافع ما يزيد في خوفك من الله تعالى ويزيد في بصيرتك بعيوب نفسك ويزيد في معرفتك بعبادة ربك عز وجل ويقلل من رغبتك في الدنيا ويزيد في رغبتك في الآخرة. So Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah, he says useful knowledge is only that which increases you in awe, in fear of Allah Most High, increases your insight into your own defects, increases your knowledge of how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It reduces your yearning for this world and it increases your yearning for the hereafter. It opens your eyes to the things that spoil your worship so you may guard against them. And it lays bare the scheming of shaitan and his deceit. Because he wants to lead us astray. He wants us to waste our time. And so we have to be on guard from that. Knowledge that is of benefit is that which is going to bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is what is going to benefit us in the hereafter. Because remember, we always have to have a long-term vision. Always. We cannot limit our vision to that which is just in the dunya. And part of ilmun nafi', or knowledge that is of benefit, is that if you know something, you apply it. If you know something, and Allah has blessed you with some knowledge, then you put it into practice. Because if you have knowledge, but you don't implement it or apply it, then not only is this knowledge not useful because you're not benefiting from it, but you're going to be asked about it on the day of judgment. And this is going to be something that is very difficult. It's a very difficult position or state to be in. And so it's important that if Allah blesses us with some form of knowledge, and it's a struggle, don't think that this is easy and that, just in the snap of a moment, you'll be able to apply everything and anything that you know in relation to your deen. This is a hal, this is a state of being that you want to be in. So in other words, we have to habituate ourselves to this. That when we have free time, we seek it in that which is going to benefit us. We seek the knowledge that is going to bring us nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that which is going to increase our yearning for the akhirah and reduce our yearning for the dunya. Because we're leaving this place, every single one of us, without an exception. And so he continues and he says, rahimahullah, if you are of those worthy of it, worthy of this sacred knowledge that is of benefit, he said, then go and seek it, and then act by it, and then teach it and invite others to it. For whoever realizes this, acts upon it, and invites others to it, will be called azim, will be called great in the dominions of the heaven. And this is based on a statement of al-Masih, Isa, alayhi salatu wassalam, in which he said, and this is narrated in the collection of Imam Ahmad and al-Bayhaqi and Abdul Aziz bin Dhubyan, قال المسيح عليه السلام من تعلم وعمل وعلم فذلك يدعى عظيما في ملكوت السماء. That whoever learns تعلم and then عمل, acts, and then علم, teaches, and in another narration he says وعلم, knows. So these four aspects, learning, and then knowing, and then doing, عمل, and then teaching, علم. ذلك يدعى عظيما في ملكوت السماء. He is the one who is going to be called, known as great, عظيم, in the dominions of the heavens. This is what it is that impresses the angels. This is what it is that will bring the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala down upon you. And we relate the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam of Abu Darda radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, in which he said, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له طريقا إلى الجنة. This is an amazing hadith. that the Prophet ﷺ, he said that whoever takes a path, whoever travels, sets themselves out on this path, seeking sacred knowledge, seeking that knowledge that's going to benefit them, Allah is going to make easy for them their path to Jannah. So you choose your path. We all choose our path. What path are you going to take? And then the Prophet ﷺ, he continued, and he said, وَإِنَّ الْمَلَائِكَةَ لَتَضَعُ أَجْنِحَتَهَا رِضًا لِطَالِبِ الْعِلْمِ. And so then the Prophet ﷺ explained some of the blessings and the benefits that come to the seeker of knowledge. He said that the wings, the angels, they lower their wings to the one who's seeking sacred knowledge. And then he continued, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he said, وَإِنَّ طَالِبَ الْعِلْمِ يَسْتَغْفِرُ لَهُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ حَتَّى الْحِيتَانِ فِي الْبَحْرِ. And that for the seeker of knowledge, for the student of knowledge, for the one who's seeking this beneficial knowledge, all of the creatures in the heavens and in the earth make istighfar for you. Even the whales in the sea, even the fish in the oceans. All creatures in the depths of the seas or in the vast expanses of the desert, any creature that is there will be making istighfar for the talib al-ilm. Will be asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness for the seeker of sacred knowledge. And then the Prophet ﷺ, he continued. And then he said, وَإِنَّ فَضْلَ الْعَالِمِ عَلَى الْعَابِدِ كَفَضْلِ الْقَمَرِ عَلَى سَائِرِ الْكَوَاكِبِ إِنَّ الْعُلَمَاءَ وَرَثَةُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ إِنَّ الْأَنْبِيَاءَ لَمْ يُوَرِّثُوا دِينًا وَلَا دِرْهَمًا إِنَّمَا وَرَّثُوا الْعِلْمِ فَمَنْ أَخَذَهُ أَخَذَ بِحَظٍ وَافِرٍ. So the Prophet ﷺ, he concluded, and he said that the superiority of the scholar, the one who knows, over the one who doesn't, or the one who is a worshipper, the alim over the abid, is like the full moon, the superiority of the full moon over the rest of the heavenly bodies. When the full moon is in the sky, it blocks out all the rest of the heavenly body. You can't see the stars, you can't see the planets in the presence of the full moon. This is the virtue and the fadl of the scholar or the one who knows. And the alim here is the one who seeks knowledge and then puts it into implementation and acts according to it. And so then the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the scholars, they are the inheritors of the prophets. They are the heirs of the Anbiya. Because the prophets, they don't leave behind wealth. They don't leave behind dinar or dirham, any form of wealth. But rather, what they left behind is knowledge. Knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Knowledge of that which will benefit you. Knowledge of the akhirah. And so whoever takes this portion of knowledge, then they have taken indeed a great portion. Hadhun azim. Hadh wafir. Right? That he has taken a great share. And so this is something that when we reflect on the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in terms of, He has given us some form of knowledge in the book of Allah, in the Quran. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, ثُمَّ أَوْرَثْنَا الْكِتَابَ الَّذِينَ اصْطَفَيْنَا مِنْ عِبَادِنَا. And then we allowed to inherit, or we granted the book, al-kitab, the Quran, revelation, to those whom we have chosen from amongst our servants. Because this is something that Allah, He wills it to come to you. It's a blessing. Not everyone gets it. Right? And they're the ones who Allah chooses to give them this knowledge. ثُمَّ أَوْرَثْنَا الْكِتَابَ الَّذِينَ اصْطَفَيْنَا مِنْ عِبَادِنَا. But then Allah tells us the three grades or levels of the believers. فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْكَبِيرُ. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, some of them are those who wrong themselves. ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. Some of them, they choose a middle course, they follow a middle course, and then there are some who are the foremost in striving towards good. They're the foremost in doing good deeds by Allah's will. That is truly the greatest bounty. And so in this verse, the Prophet ﷺ, he commented, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he said that كلهم في منزلة واحدة كلهم في الجنة. That they're all in the same level in terms of they're all being in paradise. All of them are in paradise. The ظالم لنفسه, the مقتصد, and the سابق بالخيرات. They're all in paradise, but they'll be at different levels. And so then in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he explained, and he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ سَبَقُوا بِالْخَيْرَاتِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. As for those who strive to do good, they're the ones who enter into Jannah without any reckoning. They don't have any hisab. They go straight into Jannah. Allahumma ja'alna minhum. And then the Prophet ﷺ continued, وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ اقْتَصَدُوا فَأُولَٰئِكَ يُحَاسِبُونَ حِسَابًا يَسِيرًا. As for those who take a middle course, they're the ones who will have an easy reckoning on the Day of Judgment. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ فَأُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ يُحَاسِبُونَ طُولَ الْمَحْشَرِ ثُمَّ هُمُ الَّذِينَ تَلَافَاهُمُ اللَّهُ بِرَحْمَتِهِ. That then the ones who are ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ, they're the ones who did themselves wrong, they will be the ones who will feel the hisab the entire time of the mahshar, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will rectify their affairs by encompassing them by His mercy subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so then the ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ, this refers to the believers amongst us, who they might fall short in their obligatory duties. They might not be doing khair that is above and beyond what they should be doing. They might be doing ma'asi, sins. But they're the ones who ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. We have to strive to be of those who will be above that. But they'll still be forgiven. But we don't want to allow the shaitan to deceive us and to say that we should be satisfied being at that level. The muqtasid, those who take the follow the middle course, they do what they should be doing. They fulfill their fara'id, and they leave the ma'asi. But they might not be doing extra work. But then you have the sadiqun bil khairat. And these are the ones who we want to strive to be. Those who strive to be in the foremost. And they're the ones who go above and beyond. They're the ones who do all these extra works and acts in order to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's something that we need to strive towards, every single one of us. That's what we need to fulfill our time. That's what we need to occupy ourselves with. Is this first thing that Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah started seeking useful knowledge. And I'll quickly summarize the other 3 states that he refers to in the second part of this khutbah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكل نساء المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. As for the second state to strive to be in terms of fulfilling our free time, in terms of what to do, Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah, he refers to أن لا تقدر على تحصيل العلم النافع ولكن تشتغل بوظائف العبادات. So he said, if you're unable to acquire useful knowledge, you cannot fulfill your time or fill your time doing that, spend your time engaged in the duties of worship, such as the remembrance of Allah, recitation of the Quran, glorification, doing tasbih, doing extra salawat. This is among the stations of the worshippers and the way of the righteous. And by this method you will also be of the successful ones. If we can't do that, then he goes into the third state, which is isal al-khair, doing good work. Just doing khair. And so he said the third possible way to spend your time is in working on something that will bring benefit to the Muslims. Right? إدخال السرور في قلب مؤمن. Is that making a believer feel a sense of joy, doing works of charity, by that which will bring happiness to the hearts of the believers, or by which you'll make it easier for the righteous to accomplish good works. So in other words, by you helping others do khair, then that is much benefit and reward in it for you. And so this might include striving to bring food, for example, to the poor and the needy, taking care of their errands, making a habit of visiting the sick, escorting or following the janayas. All of these different deeds, good works, isal al-khair. These are of benefit for you. And then all of these, he said, are superior to voluntary acts because they are forms of worship and they involve kindness to Muslims. So something that only benefits you but doesn't benefit others, it's not as virtuous as something that benefits others. So we strive to do work towards other people as well and to spread khair and good. And that is something that will benefit everyone and is much better than something that is limited to simply benefiting yourself. And that leads into the last one. The last state, which is al-iktisab wa hifd ad-din, is that if you're unable to do seeking useful knowledge or filling your time with acts of worship or doing good works that will benefit others, then he said, earn a living. Lacking the strength for these things, you occupy yourself with your own needs. That you earn a living to take care of yourself and your family, and you do this in such a way that Muslims are safe from your tongue and your hands. And your religion is safe because you would not be committing sins. So in other words, occupy yourself with something that is going to busy yourself so that you don't end up busying yourself with something that will be a sin. That's what we should be doing. And so these are states of being. They're not simply actions. Get into the habit. Every single one of us, myself included, we have to fulfill these, try to strive in order to be in these states. Because ultimately this is what's going to benefit us. We need to use our time. And it's not to say that somebody can't, have some free time where they have some halal enjoyment. We're not saying that. But this is something, it's a goal that every single one of us, young and old, we can work towards. Is the more that we fulfill our times, we fill our times with doing that which is a benefit for us, then the greater the reward is going to be, and we will see it in the akhirah. Guaranteed. We will see the results of our striving in the hereafter. And so it's up to every single one of us. What state do you want to be in before Allah on the Day of Judgment? What level do you want to be in Jannah? All of this is going to be based on how we fill our times here and now. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك يا ربنا سميع قريب يجيب الدعوات ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما اللهم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين واشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين وانصر إخواننا المستضعفين المظلومين في كل مكان انصرهم في مشارق الأرض وفي مغاربها يا رب العالمين اللهم الطف بنا وبجميع المسلمين بلطفك فيما جرت به المقادير اللهم ردنا إلى دينك ردا جميلا إنك يا ربنا سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار والحمد لله رب العالمين وآخر الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استقيموا سووا صفوفكم سد الحال بين المناكب صلوا صلاة الذين straighten your rows, fill in the gaps.
There's still lots of people here, they
try to fill in the left side of the musalla as much as possible, whatever spaces that you see.
This side, don't block the way, People they come in,
If there's room in the back, please then make your way to the back. Try to squeeze yourselves together. So,
couple more seconds.
ready?
Go ahead, Imam.
Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى